Knicks fans, we are in a subscriber battle with another channel here at Chat Sports, and that is Steelers Talk, hosted by my guy, Jack Sperry. He thinks that his channel can get to 27,000 subs before we can, and I know we are the best fans in the world. So if you love the Knicks and want videos every day on the latest Knicks news and rumors, hit that big red sub button, and let's beat Jack Sperry because he's been talking some noise.
Sorry, Knicks fans. We're going to beat you in that sub battle this week. Knicks suck. Go Steelers. Let's go. Suck it!
What up, everybody? If you are subscribed, let's at least talk a little bit of noise. Type F Jack Sperry, F Sperry, down in the comment section. Let's get the show rolling. You're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. In today's video, we got a bunch to talk about. The Knicks, they made a couple of roster moves. We're going to break that down, and there are rumors surrounding Rudy Gay as he has been released by the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Knicks, they could use a backup power forward despite signing Nathan Knight yesterday. Maybe they could use a vet. We're going to break that idea down in just a second. But first, let's talk about Trevor Keels. The Knicks, they technically re-signed Trevor Keels, but he really just accepted the qualifying offer that they made. Remember, Keels was that second-round draft pick for the Knicks back in the 2022 NBA draft, and now they have three players on two-way contracts. You got Trevor Keels, you got Nathan Knight, and you have Jaylen Martin, who was the UDFA out of the Overtime Elite League. If you notice, there's one player that we had on this video yesterday with the two-way contracts. That is Duane Washington. We'll break down his situation in a second. But you may be asking yourself, what is a two-way contract? Well, this is what it is. Two-way contracts allow NBA teams to carry 3 extra players in addition to the 15 on their regular season roster. These players generally bounce back and forth between the NBA and G League, but remain under team control and can't be poached by rival franchises. Players on these two-way deals can play at a maximum of 50 games in the NBA before they have to sign a full-time NBA contract. Let's talk about Trevor Keels a little bit more in depth, though, because we didn't do too much Summer League coverage on this channel because I wasn't a fan of the roster, and I knew a lot of those players wouldn't be on the Knicks roster. But Trevor Keels, 42nd pick in the 2022 NBA draft at Duke. He'll be 20 years old in about a month or so, August 26th. Still a really young guy, and he was a 5-star recruit in high school. So he's still really young. He is a raw prospect, but he has some talent. 5-star recruit. He was solid at Duke, and he actually flashed a little bit in the Summer League. Played 5 games for the Knicks in Vegas this summer. Totaled 11 points per game, 2.8 rebounds, as well as 2.8 blocks, 41.5% from the field, and 33% from downtown. Had a couple of big games, had a 20-point game one night, but it was just the inefficiencies. That's kind of what you expect with a young player like Keels. He also shined a little bit in the G League last year for the Westchester Knicks, played 24 games down in the developmental league for the Knicks in the NBA, 14.5 points per game, 3.5 assists, 2.9 rebounds per night. Wasn't the most efficient player, 42.5%. He got that three-point percentage up to almost league average there at 34.5%. But he showed you why he was a second-round pick, because he has a pretty high ceiling and showed the traits and the flashes of the skill as to why he was a 5-star recruit and a guy that actually was pretty decent at Duke. But it's always been the same thing with Keels, inconsistencies. One game he can look like that 5-star prospect. Another game he can look like a guy that's still a developmental player, and some would say he should have stayed at Duke for a couple more years. But now that the Knicks have 3 players, their 3 two-way contracts filled, this is what the roster looks like. You still got Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randall, and Robinson in the starting 5. You got Emmanuel Quickley and Miles McBride as your backup point guards. DiVincenzo and Trevor Keels, I'm going to say, are your backup 2 guards. You got Josh Hart and Jaylen Martin as your backup wings. You still got Isaiah Roby. You just signed Nathan Knight to that 2-way deal. And you got Isaiah Hartenstein and Jericho Sims. You still technically have Evan Fournier on this team, but he doesn't even deserve to be on this graphic after he smack-talked Tom Thibodeau. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about Jaylen Martin as well, who played good in the Summer League for the Knicks. He was a UDFA for them. He is also occupying a two-way deal. Played in the Overtime Elite League last year, and he's got an NBA body, 6'6", 216 pounds, just 19 years old. And in the Overtime Elite League, he averaged 14 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, wasn't really efficient at all, 37.6% from the field and just 26.7% from downtown. But he actually played really well in the playoffs in the Overtime Elite League, and I believe it was the championship round and matchup that he actually played really good in the OTE. He also spent 3 games with the Knicks in the Summer League. He gave you 13 points per game on 29.7 minutes per night, 2.7 rebounds to go with 3 assists. Another theme, though, inefficiencies. That's for a lot of players in the Summer League, right? They're still raw. They're trying to find their way in the NBA and really find their footing. But he was inefficient, 40% and 26.7% from downtown. But you saw why the Knicks at least gave this guy a two-way deal. He does have some NBA talent. So you have 3 guys occupying your two-way contracts, which is the maximum. Trevor Keels, Nathan Knight. If you want to know more about Nathan Knight, go check out the video we did on him yesterday, and Jaylen Martin. Notice that there's a player no longer listed on this list, and that is Duane Washington, the sharpshooter that played for the Indiana Pacers in 2021, spent time with the Phoenix Suns in 2022 before the Knicks signed him, and they offered him a qualifying offer. But at this point, with the 3 two-way contracts, already filled up, I'm not sure Washington will be back with the New York Knicks, so his tenure may be over. But hey, once the Knick, always the Knick, even though I don't think he actually played a minute for the big squad in the NBA this year. I want to focus back in on Trevor Keels and Jaylen Martin real quick before we shift and talk about the idea of signing Rudy Gay, who was released by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Which one of these guys do you think has a brighter future? Is it Trevor Keels? Is it Jaylen Martin, second-round pick? UDFA, type TK for Trevor Keels, or JM for Jaylen Martin. Question of the day that I've been asked already 20 times on Twitter is, should the New York Knicks sign Rudy Gay? So the Oklahoma City Thunder released Gay yesterday on Wednesday after being traded by the Jazz and the Hawks earlier this offseason. Rudy Gay has always been a player that I've been a fan of, but I think he might be a little bit long in the tooth, and Father Time is tugging on his cape a little bit. When you look at what he's done in the association over the past 4 years, his production really continues to go down, as well as the efficiency. Played in 56 games, last year for Utah, 5.2 points per night, 2.9 rebounds, 37.8% from the field, and 25% from 3. Was not a good basketball player last year, and he may not have any gas left in the tank. As you see, the points per game each of the last 3 seasons have gone down, as well as the efficiency has gone down, as well as the outside shooting has gone down. He's 36 years old. At this point, he's still 6'8", 7'3" wingspan. Can he give you anything maybe on the fast break, maybe on the defensive end? That former first-round pick in 2006. And if you're on the sticks, you know that Rudy Gay was an absolute legend in NBA 2K. Honestly, 12, 13, 14, 15. He was like a cheat code. He was one of those guys, if you could dunk and shoot threes in 2K, you were an automatic cheat code, kind of like J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert. The question is he cooked? And I think if you're still watching at this point, he is cooked. The stats are not good anymore. He's not an efficient player. Still a really high basketball IQ guy. I wouldn't mind bringing him in as someone that could mentor some of the young guys, but when it comes to being a professional basketball player and having that skill level, I'm just not sure he does anymore. He just doesn't really have juice. He shot 24.8% on catch-and-shoot threes, 44.1% on all pull-ups. And when he was 10 feet or less from the basket, only converted at a 51% clip, and he shot 43.7% overall from the field. If this was 2 years ago, I would say yes, bring Rudy Gay to the New York Knicks, but it's 2023, and we're a couple of months away from 2024. I'm not sure that he is a guy that's going to be in the NBA all too much longer. Do you want the Knicks to sign Rudy Gay, though? I made the case to not. I wouldn't be mad if it happened. But maybe there's another guy like Trendon Watford or somebody else. We'll break down some other veteran minimum free agent targets in a second. But let me know, do you want the Knicks to sign Rudy Gay? Type S for sign, type P for pass. If the Knicks still want to go the route of bringing in a veteran minimum free agent power forward, here are 4 guys that I think fit that bill. JaMychal Green makes a lot of sense. I think he's a scrappy 3-and-D power forward. Taj Gibson, once a Knick, always a Knick. We know he's a New York kid, grew up down the block, and he's someone that has a great relationship with Tom Thibodeau. Trendon Watford is the guy that stands out to me on this list. Did a little bit of everything for Portland last year, but I don't want to buy into the 40% or high 30% from 3 percentage because he attempted less than 2 per game, so the volume isn't there for me to draw a conclusion off if he can really shoot the rock. But I think Josh Hart would like to bring him here, considering he liked to tweet on Twitter saying the Knicks should sign Trendon Watford. Or if you want to get the gang back together in New York and build on the Nova Knicks, what about Eric Paschall, former Villanova star? I'm going with Taj Gibson or Trendon Watford off that list if I really had to sign someone. But maybe Nathan Knight will be the acquisition. That's going to be that backup power forward with Isaiah Roby going into the season. As always, I just want to say thank you guys for spending a couple of minutes with us here on Knicks Now, taking time out of your busy day. We appreciate it. If you want to continue the conversation about today's video, I'm down. Just hit me up on Twitter @MarshallGreen_.